All right, everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am your Ice Dragon, Rayron VR. And this particular day, I'm actually quite excited for. It's definitely one of my more favorite companies. It was kind of the crown jewel in a hobby when I was growing up. And that is Athearn. So, when it comes to Athearn, um, I grew up with this company. Um, I remember when I was back when I was young, we go from the Bachman train sets, and it's like I want to add more cars, I want to add more freight, I want to add more coaches, and I want to add more diesels to my collection. Well, I would go to my local hobby store, which was Douglas Hobbies, no longer around, unfortunately, in Salt Lake City, Utah. And when I go into this hobby store, I would see just this entire wall of blue. It was like an ocean. There was just so much blue stacked upon shelf, upon shelf, upon shelf. And Athearn had probably the most iconic product line, and that is the Athearn Blue Box. So you can see these particular boxes here. Very simple, very to the point, and very cheap box cars and freight and passenger cars. And even to this day, I still buy these old new stock when it comes to these blue boxes. It's one of those things like it will survive a nuclear blast because it is just such well built. And even with their DC engines, it is just something that's going to last the test of time. It's like a Nokia phone in the model railroading business. The Athearn Blue Boxes is just such a well known icon, and everyone that's in the hobby knows what a blue box is, the shape of it, the iconic, locomotive that's in the front. And Athearn just did it right with all their marketing. And it was quite a time to be alive in the hobby because you can get a blue box between $5 and $10. And when metal wheels came out and K couplers came out, you can swap them out and just have a great time. It was the best way to really expand upon your railroading empire. And I got to give a lot of props to Athearn because this was one heck of a product when they came out. But we look at Athearn in the modern day, and let me take it back a little bit one more time. Again, when I was young, Athearn was kind of the crown jewel of the hobby, and it's like you always wanted to get an Athearn because you know that the name and the branding, you're gonna get good detail, you're gonna get good engines, and I got a whole bunch of DC steam engines that I have in my collection from Athearn, and it's just been a great company that I have grown up with. Now, when they start going over to DCC, it gets a little bit more questionable because it came out with their Tsunami 1 decoders, and Tsunami 1s aren't the greatest. When they start coming out with the Tsunami 2 decoders, oh, it is so, so good. Athearn today has several sub companies. Roundhouse, they have Genesis. Athearn Genesis is kind of the crown jewel that used to be back in the day. Um, and these is basically their top of the line type of diesels, their steamers, and their freights. A lot of good just products here. Now, one thing is, back in the day, I would always want to save up for an Athearn engine. Nowadays, there's a lot more competition when it comes to details, and their packaging when it comes to especially steam engines. I actually prefer BLI nowadays when it comes to steamers. I still love Athearn Genesis. It's just the way they package their steam engines. You have to separate the tender from the main body to put it back into the main package. Now you can buy something else, second shelf, to keep that tender together, but it's just one of those things that I like the way BLI packages their steam engines. But yeah, but definitely a good way to go. Now for Athearn Genesis, if you guys are getting into the hobby, I love the Athearn Genesis line, especially when it comes to, well, not necessarily Athearn Genesis. They have Athearn Ready to Roll, which is basically the forefather or the predecessor of the Blue Box series. And so when it comes to the Ready to Roll, I still buy those today. They have DCC ready engines. They're starting to equip Ready to Roll with Operator's Choice, meaning that it's a cheaper DCC engine with the Soundtrack's Economy decoders. So you guys will see that in several of my videos, I'll be running a lot of those economy decoders. But yeah, you cannot go wrong with Athearn. There's a plethora of options here that you can choose from. They do HO scale and they do N scale as well. So another big product line that they do also in N scale. So yeah, Athearn is just one of those companies that it is well known in model railroading. It is definitely one of the founding fathers, I guess is the best way to describe it when it comes to model railroading. It was always like, back in the day when I was just playing with my Bachmann, Athearn at the time was pretty much the Lamborghini in model railroading terms. But nowadays, there's some other companies that are rising with scale trains, with Rapido, with Bowser, that is giving Athearn, and also BLI, Broadway Limited Imports, with their they're making a run for their money with Athearn. So there's other great choices when it comes to buying these type of locomotives, and if you want details and so forth. But I've always been a fan of Athearn, so definitely don't look away from Athearn. They still have a lot of good products to choose from. So, but yeah, that's pretty much Athearn in a nutshell. You guys can look at the link down below for other items if you wanted to take a look at it. I think my latest Athearn that I'm going to be getting is their U50. I've got a U50 Southern Pacific on pre-order, and then I've also got a gas turbine in Southern Pacific as well. So definitely don't overlook Athearn. And especially if you're staying with DC, Athearn DC product lines are actually really, really good as well. So yeah, definitely don't overlook Athearn and Athearn Genesis and Athearn Roundhouse. So, but with it, guys, hopefully that helps you. I'm a fan of Athearn. So, but with that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.